there, I'm Gail Jones, and I'm here to take you on a mosaic journey. In this journey, we are going to be making a mosaic mirror. And this mirror is going to be very individual because I'm hoping that you're going to use something, some tessera, some wonderful keepsake that you've been just saving for this perfect occasion because you just couldn't let it go. So what we're going to be doing in session 1 is that we're going to be going over all the supplies that you're going to need for this project. In session 2, we are going to learn how to mount our mirror onto our substrate and to prepare ourselves for doing that, what kind of glue to use, and to even think about the decoration and how we want to take our pieces to create our wonderful keepsake. Session 3 and 4, I'm going to take you with doing a square mirror, and I'm going to take you doing a round mirror, and we will learn how to use the tile nippers to do a really personal, odd shape type of substrate. So whether it's a circle, which is what I'm going to be taking you through, or an oval, a star, a moon, whatever shape you desire for your base to be, I'll be able to show you and demonstrate how you can create that. And then, last but not least, session 5, we will be going over how to grout your mosaic. So let's get started with looking at the supplies that we're going to need for our project. You're going to need a marker and a pencil, scissors, a Phillips head screwdriver, utility knife, and make sure that it's a retractable one. I find that they work best, and want a nice sharp blade, picture wire, hammer. I love my hammers. Safety goggles. Tape. I really enjoy the painter's tape because it has enough of a grip that it will adhere, but not so much that it will leave a film. This is my favorite substrate, Wonder Under. The Wonder Under can be found at your Lowe's or Home Depot or maybe neighborhood hardware stores. They carry it, and it comes in a size 3 foot by 5, and you need the utility knife to cut it. I will demonstrate that after we go over the supplies. Tile nippers, very important. Tweezers. I personally don't use tweezers, but a lot of my participants in workshops, they found it to be very helpful for them. I love this skewer. It comes so handy in a lot of different ways. Good old popsicle sticks. I like to use that as an applicator for putting on the adhesives. Little cup, doesn't have to be, this one has a nifty lid to it, but just any recycled little cup will work to put the adhesives in. And I always love my yogurt cups. They come in so handy for all kinds of things. A dowel or a paint stick to stir for the grout. Now you'll find in a lot of books where it talks about mosaics, they want you to use that big rectangle metal, whatever it's called. I forget what it's even called, but I find it's very difficult to use. And I found using a good old spatula works wonders. It's easy on my hands. I can manipulate it. I can control it very easily. And it has some give here. So when it's time to push that grout down into all the broken tessera, it works without damaging the tessera. And it also scrapes off the excess grout. I can't say enough about my spatulas for using in mosaic work. If you want to use that metal one, go right ahead, but believe you me, this is the way to go. You need an adhesive other than the adhesive for the tiles. This is an E6000. This is for putting down our mirror onto our substrate. And this is clear, but it necessarily doesn't have to be the clear one because you're not going to see it. It's going to be on the back. Good old mirror. This was at a craft store, and you can use any other mirror. One of our mosaics that I'm going to be demoing, I got scraps from a mirror place where that's their business. They supply, they do all kinds of mirror stuff, and I go in there with my box and I ask very kindly if they have any scraps, and most of the time they give me some, and it's free because I'm keeping them from going to the dumpster, so we're recycling. So that's a good resource that you can go to. You can also go to your hardware store. Sometimes they have ends and they just don't know what to do with it because they're not big enough to cut for a customer. And again, you can go in there and ask if they have any scraps, and they might give them to you or they might sell them to you at a very discounted price. Recycled paper. Good old tub for putting our grout. Grout, it comes in various colors. My favorite colors are usually the neutrals, because if down the road something happens, then it's easy to do the repair because it's not a one-of-a-kind type color. Now, this is my test rig. I'm going to be breaking this up. This was a dinner plate of my brother and my sister-in-law's, and they were ready, they were done with it, and they wanted something fresh and new. So guess who got the dinner set? Because they just couldn't bear to just give it away or throw it away. So they asked if I wanted, and I said yes. And it's going to work perfectly for this project because there's so many memories wrapped up in this pattern, in this plate. How many dinners did we come to? Well, not the fancy-dancy ones, but the everyday dinners that we had there, my family and I, we had such wonderful memories. And so now we're going to use that and transform and recycle those memories into something a little more updated. And that's going to be my tester for this project. One type of tile adhesive, of course, since this is what I do, I buy it in a big container, but it also comes in little quart containers. And if you're really thrifty, it comes in the powder form and you can mix it yourself. Well, I don't do that. I get it already pre-made and pre-mixed. And this one I believe we got from Lowe's. And you just want to make sure, and if you need to ask them, tell them what you're doing, and that you're going to be putting it on under, and they'll direct you to where you can get your tile adhesive. Now this is another adhesive that I had found, tile adhesive, and it really isn't clear. They say clear, but it's not. It's sort of milky. And if you work very slow, this might be the way you want to go. It's called Henry, which is it's a family name, so this is a family project here. But I find that this takes a little bit longer to set up than this one here. So if you work slower, you might want to consider this manufacturer's adhesive to use. And just to make sure, this is for interior use, or if it's over a porch. Yes, you could have it outside and rain, but then that always brings in another consideration. How is it going to freeze, thaw, and the heat expansion? There's other adhesives, there's another, I can spend one whole session just going over adhesives. But for this project that we're doing, it's going to be for interior or in a three-season room, or a porch for 3 seasons, not for the 4th season, winter in Northeast United States. What I'm going to do now is demonstrate cutting the Wonder Under. When I first got this material, I have to be honest, it took me about 3 months to get the nerve up to cut, because when I asked them at the store, at the hardware store, how to cut it, they said, with the utility knife. And that's it. That was the explanation. And I just, for the life of me, had a hard time. How in the world can a utility knife cut this? So after reading and reading and reading, I finally had to buck up and just do it. Well, what the utility knife does is that it scores it. Very similar to when you're cutting glass. You need that score, and then it will break where you scored it. So what you want to do, whatever your measurements are, you want to use your marker and you want to draw out your measurements. And once you get your measurements all lined up and drawn on your Wonder Under, there's two sides. There is a smooth side, and then there is a side that has the grids. And it's in 1-inch grids. And when I'm working, because this is my least favorite step in doing the mosaics, is cutting the Wonder Under. I score both sides. Somebody else that might be more experienced or feel more comfortable might feel they can get away with just scoring for one side. But I score both sides so that I can ensure that I get it a break where I want it to break. So you take that and you'll have this on top of your cutting board, and you want to just bear down, and I don't try to do it all in one swoop. I go back several times and I let the knife do the work, and I hear it, and it goes deeper and deeper each time that I press down. Then I turn it over and do the same thing on the other side. And again, I'm not trying to do it all at one time, because I find if I bear down too hard, I go off of my line. So I take my time and I just bear down bit by bit. And then once you have it nice and scored, I take it to a table end and I put that line right at the edge of the table. I bear my weight on this one end and I press down with the other. And I see that I have a nice break right where I scored it, right where the line is. So after you do that, and I use the end so that at the most I am cutting 2 areas. Just like in sewing, just like when you cut fabric, you don't cut in the middle of the fabric. Don't do the same thing with the Wonder Under. Work from your ends. And when we talk about breaking and making a unique cut, whether it's a circle or an oval or a star, we're still going to work from end to end. Now, after you have it cut, we are going to put our holes in, because I like to put my hanging system on in the beginning. Whether you're going to put a wooden frame on it or whether it's going to be mounted and pre-hung already. So once the mosaic is grouted and it's all finished, the hanging system is there. We do not have to worry about how to hang it at that point. So what I do is I take my Phillips head screwdriver, and I have found this out because I've used drills, I used all kinds of things, but I found this to be the easiest way to get my holes in to hang and thread my picture wire into it. And I just, where I'm going to need my holes for the hanging wire, I put the Phillips head and I bang away until it goes all the way through. And it does it quite nicely with the Phillips head because there's a nice point, not too pointy, but pointy enough to be driven through. And I do it on both sides. And so, and some little bit of the Wonder Under comes off the back. Not to worry, it'll still be sturdy enough to support your project. So once we get the holes in, we want to measure our picture wire. Now this picture wire holds up to 40 pounds. I don't believe we're going to be making a mosaic mirror that's 40 pounds, but because once this is in, there is no getting it out after your project is made, I always double it. So I do a simple measurement like that, double it over, and a little bit for the pot. What they say, cut once, or cut once, measure twice. I think that's what they say. So now that's going to support 80 pounds. And I like to use the smooth side for my back that's going to be facing. I use the grid side to lay down my tessera. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see which side is what. There we go. Boy, I'm glad I did that. Alrighty. So, we want to thread it. So the side that we're going to place our tessera on, we want to make sure it's really flat. And this side here, I like to double it up. And I did it. I love that texture. And you want to truly make sure that your hanging system does not go over top of your piece. You don't want it coming up top here. You want it to stay hidden with the substrate so that when you hang it up on the wall, you're not seeing the wire protrude up on the top. You want to make sure it's all those things. You want to make sure you're going to be super strong so that you want to wrap it really well so it doesn't slip through. And you want to make sure it doesn't come up over the top of your substrate. See how nice and flat that is here? So when we lay our tiles down, when we're working on our project, it doesn't bubble up too much. There's a nice hanging so that a nail or a picture wire hanger that some people put on the wall, it's secure, it's not going to move anywhere. And best off, now that's all done. So when we start to work, and by the time we go through step 5, and you're finished and you've buffed your mosaic, it's going to be so nice to know you can just then take it and hang it on the wall. So thank you so much for joining in with us for session 1. And I am excited to take you on the next part of our journey in the next sessions. Thank you so much.